Hey guys, just a quick video to help you out as you're working on the first few pages of your red SOL book. So SOL 7.1, let's look at powers of 10. So let's say you had 10 to the power of negative 4. That's the same thing as saying 1 over 10 to the power of 4. 1 over 1, add 4 zeros, or 4 zeros here, including the first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1/10 times 1/10 times 1/10 times 1/10. You might see any of those ways. Alright, scientific notation. Let's say you had the number 34,121. So your decimal originally is right here. What you want to do is move that decimal somewhere to give you a number that's somewhere between 1 and 10. So I'm going to move it right here between the 3 and the 4. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 swoops. So we would say 3.4121 times 10 to the power of 4. So scientific notation is always written as some number, and again, that number here has to be between 1 and 10 times a power of 10. Also, I knew that it would be a positive exponent and not negative because I have a big whole number. If this were a tiny decimal, then it would be a negative exponent. So here we have 4.603 times 10 to the power of 7. Because the exponent here is positive, we know that we have to swoop 7 times to the right. So 4.603, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you fill your swoops in with zeros, and you rewrite. And that's scientific notation. Alright, so for FDP, to go from a fraction to a decimal, long division, numerator divided by denominator. Decimal to percent, swoop twice to the right. That's the same thing as multiplying by 100. Percent to decimal, twice left. Same thing as dividing by 100. Decimal to percent, that's place value. So for instance, let's say you had 0.75. Because that 75 is in the hundredths place, and this trick right here works, put a 1 under the first 0, we have 75 over 100. Simplify that by dividing by 25, and you get 3/4. Alright, and finally, absolute value. So absolute value is always positive. It's a measure of how far you are from 0, so it's a measure of distance. So absolute value in -3 would be equal to +3. Okay, so here we have, again, absolute value in -3, but this time we have a negative sign out front. That's like you're multiplying by -1. So you end up getting 3 times the -1, so -3. And finally we have -3 minus 8 inside absolute value. So -3 minus 8 gives you -11, because they're the same sign, so add and keep the sign. Absolute value of -11 is 11.